Hello guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be taking a look at a company known as Ibuypower, and they are a fairly large company in the PC community. They sell a lot of gaming computers and a lot of them to a lot of different people. Now what the kind of rule of thumb is with these guys is that you're paying around $100 to $200 extra on these guys' systems just because that's how it works. Usually when you are buying a pre-built system, it's usually about $100 to $200 extra on top of the cost of parts in order to get one of these pre-builts, and that comes with a warranty. It comes with the ability to contact tech support and maybe some other like little features that they might add in to their systems. But again, you're also kind of at their mercy when it comes to build quality, cable management, and making sure that everything is kind of put together right. So like everything, there's ups and downs to these systems. Now I'm not going to be sitting here going over every single different computer that they have on their site because, well, that would take me a couple of hours to do because they've got so many different pages and so many different computers, because I would basically just be comparing parts to parts on PC Part Picker, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense because what these guys are buying these parts for is not nearly how much we are paying for them as consumers, since they buy these on OEM trays, and you know they cost significantly less for them to get these than it does for us. So what are we going to be doing today? Well, today we're actually customizing our own computer. Now they have anything. I've actually never checked out their laptops. I might do a video on that if you guys want to see that, but we're going to take a look at their desktops, and you can either pick from an Intel or AMD CPU. So let's take a look at their AMD ones because they're probably going to be better value. So right now I'm just going to show you guys what the kind of step through process is through building your own computer on Ibuypower PC Part Picker, or kind of whatever they call it. I think it's build or something like that. I'm not 100% sure what it's called, but it's just customizing your own PC. And on their site, you basically get to pick any of the parts that you want. You get to pick the case, you get to pick the CPU and stuff like that. I have already actually made a computer on here to compare against a real world one that you are going to build yourself. I mean, these are all the exact same parts together, and we'll talk about it a little bit more after. But so how you kind of go through all this stuff is pretty simple. So you got to pick the externals first. So you pick your case, you pick your fans, and then you kind of pick all of your lighting stuff. So I mean, fans don't really matter a whole lot unless you want to have high performance fans. So this is gonna be like your silent, be quiet wings. These are pretty high performance, and then you've got like these low performance ones that have RGB on them. Then you kind of got somewhere in the middle of these Corsair ones that are pretty high performance and they have RGB all over them. Again, it's just kind of a give and take kind of thing. But you have everything else that you can pick from. And now when we start getting into hardware, you can pick any of these things that's with it, and then it calculates that into your subtotal of your computer. Now in terms of cooling, you get to pick any one of their cooling methods that you would like. Which one is selected by default? I don't think anyone is selected by default here. So we're going to be picking their Ibuypower. This one actually is pretty cheap for an AIO in general. Now another really cool thing with Ibuypower is that sometimes they have like these little special promos that kind of go on, and today they have a little promo for getting a free DDR 3200 megahertz module set, other than just getting your standard 3000 megahertz. So you basically just get a free upgrade to 16 gigabytes of 3200 megahertz instead of having that 16 gigabytes of 3000 megahertz, which is going to give you a pretty decent bump in performance when you are using a Ryzen processor. And you can also set in an XMP mode and probably get a little bit of a higher clock to help out that CPU a little bit more. Now in terms of graphics cards, you get to pick from the standard AMD ones, or you can pick from the NVIDIA ones. Again, AMD are going to be better value, and I guess NVIDIA is going to have a larger feature set. I would never get anything that is the GeForce GT 1030. Oh my god. I don't even know why they offer that. That is the absolute worst card in the world. It's not a gaming card. It is like just a display card. I would never use that for games, maybe other than Minecraft. But yeah, never pick this one. Pick something else. I'd probably pick an AMD card, if anything. And then everything else we got, you get to pick all your motherboards. So you can select from their cheaper chipsets, their B550, or up to their X570. And then you can get some nicer X570 boards up there. Now, in terms of power supplies, all of them are pretty good. You got 600 watts all the way up to, I guess, above 1,000 watts. Probably wouldn't really recommend that. You don't really need anything above 850 watts when it comes to these kind of PCs. And all these are actually really good PSUs. They are all 80 plus gold certified. And as well, you can pick your cable management, and then you also get to pick all of your storage. So you can pick your primary drive, so you can pick an M.2 or you can pick an SSD. So your primary drive is also going to be the one that has your OS loaded onto it. So your Windows is going to be loaded onto whatever drive you pick in the primary, and then your secondary hard drive is going to be where you can put a bunch of other just random stuff. So you can either have a mechanical hard drive for pretty cheap, or you can get a higher end SSD if you would like. Now, everything else is just kind of extra. You don't really need a sound card because sound cards are kind of just integrated onto motherboards, and there's just little peripherals here, I guess, and there's Wi-Fi adapters if you would need any sort of Wi-Fi. And you can pick your version of Windows. I don't understand why they make you pay more for different versions, because it doesn't cost them any more to get different Windows licenses. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how you go through and build one of their computers. It's pretty comprehensive, and you can pick any part that you would want out of your system. Now, so this is going to be our test system, or not necessarily our test system, but our system that we're going to be looking at today, and we're going to be comparing to our system builder. So we've got a NZXT case. This is pretty close to their H510. It's got a little bit of a different front panel. Instead of the intake coming through this side right here, because usually there's like a little hole right here where the fans will suck in air through, the intake is actually at the top right here, and this is a little glass panel, and this has a little cutout. Again, this is custom from NZXT. This is an NZXT case. So there's that. And then you've got a Ryzen 5 3600 processor, really great processor, and not a terrible price point for what they're offering it. And then we got a 120mm adjustable RGB liquid cooling AIO, so you can get a pretty decent overclock on this CPU with that. Along with that free upgrade on that 16GB 3200 megahertz memory. It's again pretty good. You might want something a little bit better with Ryzen. So with Ryzen processors, memory speed does matter in terms of CPU performance, so having higher megahertz memory is going to give you better performance. Now for our card that we picked the highest AMD card that they offered, which is the RX 5700 XT. A great card overall. It's really meant to play 1440p games in general, and it's just a great overall card for the price. Everything else, we picked a B550 board. Now, I really love Asus boards in general. Asus has really good features in their BIOS as well. They just make good quality parts in general. And I picked their Tough Gaming Plus. I mean, it's, again, still a pretty decent board in general. It looks nice, and it's got that supported bracket right there, and you got your M.2s there and all your great stuff that you might want on a motherboard. And it's at a pretty good price point. It's one of the cheaper ones out there. I wouldn't really pick anything cheaper than that, just because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Now, in terms of power supply, we picked a 600 watt one, and for our storage, we got a 500GB SSD. This is going to be our boot drive, and then for our secondary drive, we have a 1TB mechanical hard drive. Now, we didn't pick anything extra. We didn't add in Wi-Fi. We didn't add in any extra stuff. For the subtotal for the entire thing, it's going to be around $1,350 with tax, probably maybe around $1,400, probably closer to that. So then this is our system with the exact same specs. This is a Ryzen 5 3600. Again, all the same stuff. This is basically the same exact liquid cooler that Ibuypower had. It's an NZXT cooler. Again, same thing. Same motherboard, maybe different memory. This memory might be a little bit different than the one that we have. It's made by a different company, but it's still the same speeds, that 3200 megahertz. And then we've got our storage, same standard storage. Then we've got the XFX RX 5700 XT. Again, I don't know how good this card is in general. I would assume it's not terrible, but we've had problems with these particular cards, I think, with just 5700 XTs where the board partners were not mounting the coolers right, and your memory was getting like really hot for some weird reason. Again, the case that kind of went along with the one that they were showing off here, again, they always put the worst photos at the front. So we picked one of those. And then for our power supply, again, 600 watt 80 plus gold. So that came around to, it's probably around $1,200. So you're basically paying a $200 premium on top of this computer. Let's see what you can get when you save that $200 and build your own system. So now you're getting a much better CPU. You're actually getting a Ryzen 7 3700X. Now, we did have to change out this AIO because apparently we lost the pricing on that particular AIO, but it's the exact same price as what I found it for. It was $80 for the NZXT back end, so we're getting the Corsair H60. Again, same price, around the same performance. Doesn't really matter too much. And in terms of our graphics card, we got a better graphics card, the RTX 2070 Super. You know, a great graphics card in general, maybe a little bit overpriced just because it's an NVIDIA card, but oh well. So when I think it comes to for this is it depends on your use case, right? I think this is kind of the story for everybody who's either looking to buy a pre-built PC or looking to make their own. It's either, do you want better performance for your money, or do you want just the ease of use? And a lot of people are just going to say ease of use. Some people don't like to sit down and like to diagnose problems or like to figure out how to do stuff. And, you know, as sad as that might sound, you know, that's the reality of a lot of people. You know, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal here, but again, that's just really what it comes down to. It's maybe that you want to be able to use that warranty. Maybe you don't have the confidence in yourself to be able to sit down and build a computer. Now, again, I would recommend building a computer to anyone. Anybody who has decent motor skills and can watch a YouTube video can put together a computer. It's not that hard. And people just make it sound hard. It's not. It's really not. It's literally like adult Legos. You're just putting something in a slot and then turning it on. Like, you might think I'm making it sound trivial, but it's not. It's really, you're putting the stuff into a socket and then you're plugging it in with the power supply so it gets power, and then you're turning the system on. It's really not that hard, but again, some people just don't like to deal with that stuff. People don't want to have to waste time on something like that, and they don't want to mess up, because I guess you can mess up. So again, would I buy from Ibuypower? Well, I mean, there's a couple of reasons why you might. The customization that they have is pretty extensive. There's not a whole lot of companies that give you all this different variety and the stuff that you can pick from. They've got name brands and they've got their own brands. They've got pretty off brands. They've got everything that you might want to pick as well. They've got all of these different deals that you might want with your stuff, and you've got all of these different selections that you can pick from. And they also show you your relative performance. Now, again, you can find your own relative performance when you're building your own PC, but again, it just is an extra step that some people don't want to take. As well, I guess you get some wiring, stuff like that, that if you don't want to do yourself, you can get it from them. So there's that. But again, me as a hardware enthusiast is always going to suggest people to go and build their own system. But it's not bad for what it is. Ibuypower's not terrible. They're not great. And there's a bunch of other videos talking about their computers. You probably go search them up and find them. But yeah, that's just kind of this little segment. Probably gonna take a look at CyberPower here in a couple of days, maybe even tomorrow, just to check out their system. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video. Make sure to subscribe and check out one of the videos that I'm gonna link either down below or put it in a card up top. Go check one of those out. These are all just gonna be budget computers, are like really good value computer companies that you can buy from. So yeah, guys, go check those videos out. There's the links to those companies in the description. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.